places.
Hear the stories.
Make up your community.
On Push Pause.
Push Pause.
Freezing the frame on local life.
Freezing the frame on local life.
Freezing the frame on local life. On Push Pause.
In the darkness of the early hours of October 27, 1978, 13-year-old Harold Fernandez and his younger brother Byron, along with 10 other undocumented immigrants, huddled in the bow of a small motorboat fighting against the ravages of the Atlantic Ocean.
You know, I've thought about it many times because, in a way, it makes me appreciate more being here, being in America. And I share it with my kids. The ride, when it started, was very calm. And after about an hour, the boat just started rocking back and forth. And I can tell you that each time the boat was hit by one of the waves, we thought that the boat was going to split in the middle. Everyone in the boat was praying. There was a lot of panic. There was a lot of crying. And I asked God for the opportunity to be able to hug my parents one more time.
Fernandez and his family's search for a better life is a common American story, but his accomplishments since arriving, chronicled in his book Undocumented, are anything but common.
When I look back at the reason I wrote the book, it relates to the anti-immigrant feelings that I would see in society, sort of at around 2005, 2006. I felt that there was a lot of anti-Latino feelings in society. And I just wanted to sort of just be able to tell my story. Not really make a political statement, but just describe the story of an immigrant family in America.
Fernandez's epic journey brought him from a childhood amidst the turbulent violence and drug wars of Medellin, Colombia, to the hallowed classrooms of Princeton University and Harvard Medical School, to becoming a leading heart surgeon in New York.
For the first 13 years of my life, about 10 of those years were away from my father, and about 4 of those years were away from my mother. The main reason why I wanted to come to America was just to be with my parents. Even though I had the love and support of my abuelitas, my grandmothers, who were the people that I really grew up with, I always wanted to be able to hang around with my father, be able to hug him and my mother, and just come from school and see them in the house. When my mother was told that we could come to America and be here in 3 days, she took that opportunity right away.
After a harrowing journey by boat to reach the coast of Miami, Fernandez and his brother then flew to New York to be reunited with his parents and their American-born brother Marlon after years of separation.
We had instructions when we saw our parents at the airport not to show any emotions, to just hug them like if we had just been on a short vacation, but we couldn't hold our emotions intact. When we first saw our parents, we hugged, we cried, we hugged each other some more. It was just the most incredible feeling that I had ever experienced.
For Fernandez, his parents' example and sacrifice brought about a commitment to deportation.
It was a process of really looking at my parents and how hard they worked that really made me understand that in order to sort of get ahead in life, I would have to work hard, and particularly to concentrate on education. I was really moved by the times that my mother got called into school because I wasn't doing well, because I was fighting with other kids, or because I wasn't doing well in some of my classes, particularly English, which was in my first language. And I would really, I would feel terrible to see my mom work to go to school because her boy was not doing well in school. So that really moved me. Another thing that really moved me a lot was going to my father's factory to visit him and to see the conditions of his job, He would be there for 12, 14 hours a day, locked up in a place almost without any light. Just by really experiencing some of their struggles really made me realize that the only way to move ahead for me was through getting an education.
Push Pause returns with more on Dr. Harold Fernandez.
When I first started at Princeton, I was afraid, I was scared. I didn't have documents, and I always had this fear in me that at some point this dream of being in this incredible university could end.
I'm Ranger Eric Powers with your connection to nature, and you're watching Push Pause.
Coming up.
It was through some very simple ways that I was able to do what I wanted to do and make this dream a reality.
And coming up later.
Before this, I never. So it was something new, very interesting. A lot of things to learn.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Have you made the time to talk to your family about your final arrangements and expenses? The average funeral costs between $7,000 and $10,000. That's quite a burden for your loved ones. You have options. Call today to learn about the advantages of having a final expense plan in place to help cover funeral or other final expenses. If you're under 85, there is no medical exam. Your plan cannot be canceled. And the rates for this type of plan will never increase and benefits will never decrease due to age. A quality plan will pay up to $30,000 for funeral and any other final expenses, allowing your family to deal with grief, not worrying about final expenses. Call now. Our representatives will answer your questions and give you peace of mind. Also ask them about a help your family today.
Call 1-800-224-3127. That's 1-800-224-3127.
I think most reasonable Americans will concede that this is impossible.
Dr. Harold Fernandez, author of the book Undocumented, rose from humble beginnings as an immigrant from Colombia who reunited with his parents in New York at age 13 to become chief of cardiovascular surgery at South Shore Hospital.
One of the reasons I wrote the book, in addition to sharing my story, is to share it with young kids. I had a dream as a young boy to be able to help people through medicine. It started from the doctors and the nurses that would come to my house in Medellin, Colombia, to take care of my abuelitas because they were very sick, and just the compassion and the relief that they were able to bring to the family really created this idea in my heart and my brain that that's what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be able to bring the same compassion and the same relief and help to others. I had many obstacles in front of me, including the language, not having documents, coming from a poor family, so on and so forth. And it was through some very simple ways that I was able to do what I wanted to do and make this dream a reality. And the first one was the opportunity to work and to get a job as a young person in high school, because this really showed me the value of labor and work, and really the value of getting paid and getting money for the work that I was doing. And I began to learn that if you do something well, particularly in America, you get rewarded. So when I did my paper route, I just didn't want to sort of be a regular newspaper carrier. I wanted to be the best newspaper carrier that I could possibly be. With the money that I earned from delivering the paper, I was able to buy my first computer. And I used this computer to enter a science fair. And I entered the science fair, didn't win first place, but did well enough that it really gave me a feeling, a taste for academic competition and academic achievement. Princeton was a great place for me, but I can tell you that when I first started my career at Princeton, I was afraid, I was scared. Every few weeks, I had to pick up my books, I had to put my bag with my books and go to immigration. And I would go to Newark, we would go in front of a judge who would decide our fate, And we were fortunate. We were fortunate that we had a compassionate judge who kept delaying our immigration proceedings, and he would stamp our passports with suspension of deportation for many times. When we had our last meeting with the judge, we were expecting the judge to again stamp our passports with suspension of deportation procedures, and all of a sudden he said no. He said that we were going to get our green cards. When I said this to my parents didn't believe it until our green cards started to arrive in the mail. For me, it was the most incredible feeling that I had because now this meant that I could finish my education at Princeton and then go on to medical school to make my dream of becoming a physician a reality.
Fernandez took the opportunity given with his new citizenship to visit family and friends in Colombia.
Once we had our green card, it meant that we could go back and see our families again. Because one of the things about immigrant families is that you're always apart. There are always part of your family which is in America, part of your family which is somewhere else. And we hadn't seen the rest of our family for many, many years. In fact, my father's mother passed away while he was here, and he wasn't even able to go back for her funeral. When I went back, I saw this beautiful girl that lived across the street from where I lived. I just thought she was very compassionate, very well educated, and very pretty. And in fact, I can tell you a funny story. The night before I came back to America, I asked her if I could give her a kiss, and she leaned over, and I gave her a kiss in her cheek. So she got a visa, and she was here, and we got married within 90 days of her arrival to America. When I wrote this book, I wasn't trying to make a political statement. I was just trying to show, using the example of my family. It doesn't have to be being a cardiac surgeon, but I think that immigrants in general come to America with a dream. And that dream really is to become part of the American society, to contribute, to be passionate about making a contribution. And if you look at all the immigrant communities in America, there are people here who are just working real hard for their families so that their sons or daughters can go to college and be part of the American dream.
For Push Pause in Huntington, this is Greg Blank.
Hi, I'm Bobby Dog, creator of TeamDog.com, and you're watching Push Pause.
Hi, I'm Myra. I'm Stephanie. I'm Luke. I'm Anaho. And you're watching Push Pause.
Coming up.
Before this, I had never seen a barrel made before in my life. So it was something new, very interesting, a lot of things to learn. All in all, it's been real fun.
And coming up later.
Only sweat the big stuff, basically. You know, that